Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests. We go to meet Janeille in Florida. Welcome, Janeille. Introduce yourself. Who is Janeille who's going to join us today?
Thank you for having me, Susan. Like you said, my name is Janeille. I work as a building information modeling specialist at an engineering firm, and I am a strong supporter of voting rights. I like, hiking. I like being out in nature, and I have an eclectic mix of things that I like to do. Overall, those are the things I really focus on, the things I like to put my passions in. I'm a multi-passionate person that likes to help other people and likes to be a part of my community.
Let's unpack a few things. You say building information modeling specialist, and you told me you learned that in college. Maybe for the listeners, since I didn't know what it is, what is it?
Building information modeling is basically, if you have a building, right? Everyone either, sleeps in a building if you're not homeless, or if you're in a building, there are walls surrounding you and there's a roof. And basically what I do is I make that in 3D on a screen, like in just the most basic way. That's what I do. Let's say you want to construct a building. You might draw a plan, and the plan shows you the walls, the doors, the windows, all that kind of things. And it's flat on a piece of paper, right? But with building information modeling, you can make that in 3D, and it will show you all aspects of the building in real time. You can create sections of it, you can create plans, you can create all elements of the drawing instead of it just being one-dimensional.
Amazing what technology can do. And I'm always curious to find out, as of when did you get interested in that? Or what was a moment that you're like, I want to become a building information modeling specialist? Big words.
Yeah, it sounds fancy, but it's really, really simple. The reason I wanted to do something like that was, you do have to fast forward to when I was in high school. I grew up in Jamaica, and I took a drafting class when I was in 10th grade because I was interested in trying to see if it's something that, I could do. It started off really, really basic, where we had a T-square and a triangle and just drawing things by hand. And it was actually not even like architectural drawing, it was engineering drawing. And that's how I kind of became interested in being able to make things that were functional. I always kind of liked drawing, but I didn't really like drawing things that were like really, really abstract. I always like to draw real things, always things that I could see. Like there's this bottle of water in front of me. I always want to draw something that I could feel and touch and, taste, all that kind of stuff. That's what got me into wanting to go in that direction. I just wanted to be able to make things that were real.
Fantastic. Yeah. And you were good in math and geometry, I would assume.
Yeah, I'm not sure I was like the best in math, but I always like drawing things. I think that's where I mainly focus. I think that's why I actually went to school for architecture, even though I currently work for an engineering firm. I think that's what kind of put me in that direction initially, is because I just wanted to make things that were real, like in the real world.
That's very foreign to me, but I'm always interested to have people on my podcast who are different than I am, because then I can learn something. Building information modeling specialist. This is a huge word. You're a strong believer in voting rights. Janeille produces the Democracy in Action podcast for the League of Women Voters of Broward County. Tell us more about that. Is that your passion project?
Yeah, well, I don't really consider it a passion project. I more consider it like a public service. The reason I joined the group was that in 2017, I had gone through the process to become a US citizen. They give you the flag at the ceremony and they give you all the papers and it's like, good luck, and they go away. But I was like, okay, so I have this thing. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Well, I know what I'm going to do with it, right? Like, I feel like it's the only thing I got, right?
Yeah.
From that is the voting. Obviously, citizenship is a responsibility to me. The reason I joined that group was that I wanted to be able to, swear allegiance to at the ceremony. That's what kind of drew me to joining that group and trying to contribute.
I became a US citizen in 2014.
Nice.
An exciting ceremony, emotional, right? And then you have your flag in your hand.
Yeah, a little flag, and they tell you to wave it, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the podcast. Who are you inviting? You said you have a few episodes. Who were the guests? Like who is there?
The guests are basically members of our group. When I joined the group, I found that you get to know certain persons, like if you're a part of committees, but it's kind of hard to know other people that are part of the group that you don't like interact with on a daily basis. What I wanted to do with it was provide something that if someone, maybe they're not a member, but maybe they're just joined, that they can listen to and hear from another member about what it's like to be a part of our group and what other members are doing. So the reason we started the podcast was to kind of inform the world about what we're doing, but also to help other members to find the others that are part of the group and see what they're doing. Like we have a member of our group that she is a lawyer and she ran for office, right? What was that like? And people kind of get ideas and kind of think, oh, those are the kind of folks that are part of the group. And then also to try to attract folks to the group as well, because someone might discover the podcast and think, oh, that's a cool group. Maybe I want to join. That's why I wanted to start a podcast, was to help other people to find all these amazing people. Because what I found was that there are so many amazing people a part of this group doing such great work on registering voters and helping people. But I feel like it was almost like a lot of people didn't know, and I wanted to just put that out there.
And how many people, when you talk about the group, how many people are in that group?
Oh, well, I mean, we have kind of like a committee that produces it. It's me and about 4 or 5 other people.
Oh, wow.
That produce it. We kind of, have our different tasks and stuff. 1 month, someone does the editing. Another month, someone does the editing. And it's kind of, I'm trying to create a little system. It's not like,
I can learn from you. For me, my podcast is me, myself, and I do everything. How can I learn from you?
Yeah, I said this even in the Akimbo group that you met me in, that I was doing it all myself to begin. I think everyone starts out doing it themselves.
Sure,
but what I found really helpful was kind of compartmentalizing the parts. Booking is one thing, and then you're done with that. And then scheduling, you got to get the guest. Editing is one thing, right? Trying to post everything to social, all that. Kind of having our kind of different lanes helps to kind of be like, okay, this is where we're at. We need to move this way. And it helps to give everyone else experience in doing it as well. If they want to start their own podcast, they kind of know the steps to do it as well.
Wow. I can only learn from you. So then how many help you work for the podcast? Is it 6 or 7 in that case? Because scheduling, interviewing, editing, social is a lot of responsibility for one person.
It's about 5 or 6 of us.
Okay.
So it depends. Like sometimes some folks, like if one person does booking, then maybe they'll do another thing. But it's just a matter of kind of divvying up the tasks. It's not like overwhelming because we're all like volunteers. That's what I found helpful in getting help too, is if I make it like a chunk where, okay, this person is just doing the booking, then it seems like doable. It doesn't get overwhelming to be able to ask people to do stuff,
We can learn from you how to streamline podcasts from A to Z, right? Because it's like the scheduling sometimes take up so much time. You schedule and then you have to postpone and then you have to reschedule and then you need to get the biography, the picture, and it's a lot of work. I think people who see the end result, they're like, oh yeah, easy. Like, yeah, it looks easy. Tell us about some highlights or lowlights of the podcasting life that you have seen.
Highlights and lowlights. Highlights was, let's see. There have been a lot of highlights, especially like when was it? I think it was I want to say it was like the third episode that we did, where someone who wasn't a part of our group or I didn't know was like, oh, well, we listened to your podcast. To me, that was a highlight, especially because right now it's really just the folks that are a part of the group that we really try to market to as far as sending emails out and Facebook. But it was someone that I had no idea that they even knew it existed. I think that was the biggest highlight. And then as far as low light, I think in the beginning, it's like you just kind of start off doing everything yourself, right? I'd say the low light is kind of just trying to get everything off the ground. Like just trying to set up, when you set up your podcast, you have to submit all your stuff to the different services, right? Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Having to just create all that stuff is like it takes a little while, especially when you're just starting. That's it. Once you get over that hump, it's fine. But when you have to literally set up everything in the beginning, it can be kind of overwhelming.
I could not agree more with you. But we all know the start is the hardest, right? Once you're over that hump with the Apple Podcast, the Google, or whatever platforms they are, then you're in business. And
exactly.
It's exciting. And how easy is it for you to find speakers?
It actually is not that difficult, just because right now we're kind of just keeping it to members, and they tend to be really flattered that we're asking them as well, even though they're so interested. We haven't really had any difficulties with getting people, just because I think we're not like, we're still trying to just, like, we're off the ground, but it's not like we've had 100 podcasts, you know what I mean? Okay. Right now, just contacting members that we know and people that I know, it hasn't been difficult getting people, just because we've just kind of kept it to people in our community.
Well, so I wish you good luck to get more and interesting people. You enjoy a good Netflix binge, and you also like exploring with hiking the natural areas of South Florida. What are you Netflix binging? Do you have any recommendations for the listeners?
The last thing I watched was a series called Lupin. It was a French series. Have you seen that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that one.
Fantastic, right? I think I was watching the second season and I was like, I can't watch it anymore. It's too much for me.
Yeah, I really like that one. So that's one I would recommend. I just saw Stowaway. Okay. It was a movie where they're trying to survive. They're trying to get to Mars, and it's like you don't know if they're going to survive. Kind of thing. It's kind of, I won't ruin it, but it's,
that's good. And you like mystery, suspense, or do you have any special genre that you're following?
Yeah, I do kind of like mystery and kind of spy games. This is not Netflix, but I was a big fan of Homeland back in the day. I think it's finished now, but Homeland was actually really like that series. So like spy games and, stuff like that I really enjoy.
Tell us about the hiking. Where do you recommend to hike? Do you see the alligators in Florida, or where would you recommend the listeners?
Not recently, but what I've been doing is that the beauty of Florida is that there are a lot of natural areas that they're just like preserved natural areas that they're open to the public and they're free. Anyone can go there. I've been having a really good time like exploring just the different natural areas that are in my county. Every county, they have certain natural areas and they're free and anyone can go there and you can kind of go bird watching or hiking. The last place I went was down in Fort Lauderdale Beach. There's Hugh Taylor Park. It's right next to the A1A and it's kind of by the beach, and it was closed when we went, but it has like this underground tunnel that takes you from the park like right onto the beach, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. Like every month or so, I like to go to a new one just because there are a lot of them. And I'd like to be able to just kind of see the different places. That's what I really enjoy, just like going out and being in nature and, hearing the birds and different kinds of trees, different animals, all that. That's something I really like to do.
So nice. Getting to know you a little bit, learning from the building information modeling specialist to the podcaster, and then finding silence or listening to the birds and also the nature in South Florida. Any insights for new podcasters? Any inspirations to finish up our podcast?
I'd say if you want to make one, you should, because I think you'll only gain even if it goes terribly wrong, you'll only gain experience as what not to do. And even that is useful, right?
Okay.
I think if you want to make one, you should. Even if you don't think it's going to be very good, I think you should still try. That's my tip.
Yeah, this is very cool.
It's super simple to make one. It's just that getting started can be like the hardest part. But once you get started and you try to develop a habit or a routine, it gets easier.
Wow, very wise word. If you want to have a podcast, just do it. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. And we'll have all the information in the show notes. But the podcast is Democracy in Action. Listen to Janeille. Thank you so much for all your insights.
All right. Thank you, Susan. Take care.
What are you taking away from this podcast? Building information modeling specialist, a long job description, and a podcaster. So much we can learn. Be organized, have friends, volunteers helping you. I can learn something. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday, every Wednesday. We have more than 200 episodes. Chime in. There's something for everybody. We have interviewed people from around the globe and in various languages, English, German, Swiss German, and Spanish. Take it from the Ironwoman. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.